I took a slow breath as I stood in front of the mirror, trying to remind myself that I was enough. "You're doing fine, Liam," I whispered, but even I didn't sound convinced. I was Liam Carter, a man who always believed love mattered more than money, even when the world kept proving otherwise. My career was moving, but painfully slow, and every time I talked about my plans, Emily gave me that small, tired smile that felt colder than the room around us. "You worry too much," she would say, brushing past my words like they were background noise. I tried to laugh it off, but each time it stung a little deeper. I loved her, but sometimes I wondered if she loved the version of me she imagined, not the one standing beside her. At work, people knew me as the quiet analyst who stayed late and avoided office drama. I didn't mind. Peace felt better than pretending. But every victory I earned felt small next to Emily's world, her mansion, her family name, the way people stepped aside when she walked into a room. And then there was me, the man who still checked price tags twice. "You should aim higher," Emily told me one night. "My friends think you're comfortable. Too comfortable." Her tone wasn't angry, just dismissive, like she was commenting on the weather. I wanted to defend myself, but the words stayed stuck in my throat. I hated that I let them. So when she invited me to her family's dinner party, I told myself I had to fit in, even if the suit felt too tight and the mansion looked like a museum. The moment we walked in, the air shifted. Emily's mother didn't greet me. She simply turned away like I was part of the furniture. Her brother, Daniel, looked me up and down and smirked before asking, "Still in that tiny position at your job?" Emily squeezed my hand so hard it almost hurt, as if telling me not to react. I forced a smile and said, "I'm doing my best." Daniel laughed. Emily's mother didn't even pretend to listen. I felt myself shrinking, like the room was closing in on me. I tried to stay calm, tried to breathe, but something inside me cracked just a little more. Emily leaned close and whispered, "Please don't embarrass me tonight." Her words hit harder than the laughter around us. I nodded because arguing there would only make things worse, but my chest tightened. I felt like a guest in the life I was supposed to share. Every voice at the table sounded sharper, colder, and every comment reminded me just how far I stood from their world. By the time the appetizers arrived, my smile felt like a mask glued to my face. I kept telling myself to endure it, to act normal, to make Emily proud. But as I watched her laugh with people who barely acknowledged me, I didn't belong here. I stepped outside to breathe, but the moment I reached the balcony, I heard Emily's voice drift through the half-open door. "Come on," she said, laughing. "You know Liam. He tries, but he's just too small." My hand froze on the railing. Her friend snorted. "Too small and too slow. You really plan to marry that?" Emily laughed harder. "I know, okay? I know. But what choice do I have? Everyone else is taken, and he's safe. Like a backup plan." Another friend whispered, "Settling much?" They all burst into loud, sharp laughter. My chest tightened. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I stood there like the world had stopped spinning. "Emily," one friend teased, "imagine saying, 'I do' to someone who still takes the bus." Emily groaned dramatically. "Don't remind me. I swear, sometimes I feel like his entire life is stuck in slow motion." A sound slipped out of me, a small, broken breath. The laughter died instantly. Emily turned. "Liam." I pushed the door fully open. "So that's what you think of me?" Her friends exchanged awkward glances and fled inside, leaving us alone. Emily pressed a hand to her forehead. "Why are you standing there like that? You scared me." "I heard everything," I said, my voice shaking. "Every word." She sighed. "It was a joke. A joke." I stepped closer. "Calling me a backup plan is a joke?" "Yes," she snapped. "You're being sensitive again. You always do this." "I'm sensitive because you humiliated me." "Oh my God, Liam, stop making this dramatic." "I was just trying to make them laugh." I stared at her. "At my expense." "It's not a big deal," she insisted. "They tease everyone. I can't look boring in front of them." "So you mock me to seem interesting?" "Why are you twisting this?" she said, throwing her hands up. "I support you all the time." You said I'm too small. You know I didn't mean it literally. You said I'm too slow. That was. You said marrying me would be settling. Emily groaned. Liam, you're blowing this out of proportion. Just let it go. I swallowed hard. Tell me you didn't mean any of it. She hesitated. A full second. Maybe two. I didn't mean it like that, she finally said. There. Happy? No, I whispered. I'm not. Emily stepped toward me. Can we go inside? People are staring. Of course, I said automatically. Wouldn't want that. She frowned at my tone. Don't do this. Not tonight. I'm not doing anything, I said, but my voice kept breaking. I'm just thinking. Liam, please don't make a scene. I'm not making a scene, I said softly. I'm just trying to understand how the woman I love can laugh about me like I'm nothing. Emily didn't answer. She just stared. I finally turned away. I need air, I whispered. Real air. I walked back inside, past the music and the lights, pretending I was fine. But my chest was burning, and every step felt like it was cracking something inside me that I wasn't sure I could fix. I stood in Emily's room with the ring in my hand, my fingers shaking. She walked in behind me and said, Liam, can we not start the morning like this? I placed the ring on her table. I'm not starting anything. I'm ending it. Her eyes widened. You're overreacting again. No, I said, breathing hard. I heard what you really think of me. I'm not staying where I'm mocked. It was a joke, she repeated, stepping closer. It wasn't, I said. And you know it. She reached for my arm. Don't be dramatic. Put the ring back on, and let's talk like adults. I am talking, I said. And I'm walking away. Seriously, she snapped. After everything I've done for you? I let out a bitter laugh. Everything you've done to me, you mean? I headed for the door, and she followed me into the hallway. You're making a mistake. No, I whispered. I made the mistake when I thought I mattered to you. Her mother stepped out of the dining room, her gaze sharp. What is going on? Emily pointed at me. He's leaving. Her mother glared at me. How ungrateful. I kept walking. Thank you for confirming it. Daniel leaned against the wall like he'd been waiting for this. Called it, he said with a smug grin. Knew you'd fold. I stopped for a second. I'm not folding. I'm choosing myself. He snickered. Same thing. I walked past him without another word, but his laughter followed me down the stairs. Outside, the cold air hit me hard. My chest was still tight, but at least I could breathe. I pulled out my phone and called the only person I trusted. Olivia answered on the second ring. Liam, you okay? You sound like you're about to pass out. I left, I said. I actually left. You mean, the engagement? Yeah. She exhaled softly. Come to the cafe. I'm here. I reached the small corner cafe, and she rushed to me the moment I walked in. Sit, she said. You look wrecked. I feel wrecked, I said. Like I just lost something I spent years building. She handed me a warm cup. Maybe you didn't lose anything. Maybe you escaped. I rubbed my forehead. I don't know. Part of me feels stupid. Part of me feels relieved. What did she say? That I was being dramatic. That everything she said was a joke. Olivia shook her head. People don't joke like that unless they mean it. I know, I whispered. But hearing it still hurts. She leaned closer. Liam, walking away from someone who disrespects you isn't weakness. It's strength. I stared at the rising steam from my cup. Then why does it feel like failure? Because you cared, she said gently. But caring doesn't mean you should stay where you're belittled. I let out a slow breath. I'm done chasing people who think I'm small. Good, she said. Because you're not. Even with her comfort, the humiliation kept burning inside me, sharp and steady, refusing to fade. I was at my desk when my manager rushed over and said, Liam, the CEO wants you upstairs. Marcus Hale. No. My stomach dropped. Did I do something wrong? I don't know, he said. But he sounded serious. The elevator ride felt like a slow climb toward execution. When I stepped into the top-floor hallway, my hands were cold. I whispered, "Great. First my engagement, now my job." Marcus's assistant opened the door. "He's waiting for you." Marcus Hale sat behind a massive desk, expression unreadable. "Liam, sit." I sat down carefully. "Sir, if this is about the last report." "It's not," he said, cutting me off. "Relax." I forced a weak smile. "That doesn't make me feel better." A small smirk tugged at his mouth. "I've been watching your work for months." My breath caught. "Watching me?" "Yes." "You handle pressure well. You don't complain. You fix mistakes without bragging." "I just do my job, sir." "That's exactly why I called you." My confusion grew. "Am I being fired?" He leaned back. "Quite the opposite." I blinked. "Then what's happening?" "There's an emergency inside the company," Marcus said. "A serious one. I need someone reliable to step into a temporary leadership position." The words sounded unreal. Temporary leadership? Me? "Yes, you," he replied. "Unless you think you can't handle it." I swallowed hard. I don't know what to say." "Say you'll take it," he said calmly. "I haven't led anyone before." "You've led yourself through hell and still show up," he said. "Most people here can't do that." I stared at him, my thoughts spinning. "What exactly do you need me to do?" "For now, oversee the project division," he said. "I'll brief you later." I accept," I said. The words left my mouth before my mind caught up. Marcus nodded once. "Good. And, Liam, don't underestimate yourself." When I left his office, my legs felt unsteady. I muttered, "What just happened?" By the time I reached my floor, 2 co-workers were already whispering. One of them asked, "Is it true? Did Marcus call you?" "Yeah," I said carefully. "He offered me something unexpected." Their eyes widened. "Man, Daniel's going to explode." My heart thumped. "Daniel!" "He caused the emergency," one whispered. "Everyone knows it except the board." Great. Another Rhodes problem wrapped around my life. After work, I stepped outside and checked my phone. Emily had sent one message. "Did Marcus really call you? Call me now." I ignored it, but she called anyway. I answered because curiosity won. "Liam," she said sharply, "what did he want? Why you?" "Maybe he values my work," I said. She scoffed. "Don't be ridiculous. My family has people for that." "Maybe they're not doing well enough," I replied. Silence. Then a tight voice. "Daniel won't like this." I'm not living my life based on what Daniel likes. When I hung up, another message came from an unknown number. "Daniel, we need to talk. Tomorrow." I whispered to myself, so this is how the shift begins. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel small. I felt like a door had opened, one I never thought I'd be allowed to touch. When I walked into the office the next morning, the tension in the air felt sharp enough to cut through. People whispered near the elevators, glancing at reports like they were holding bad news no one wanted to say out loud. I approached Olivia's desk, and she leaned toward me with a low voice. "Did you see the numbers?" she whispered. "No," I said. "What happened now?" "Everything's crashing. Daniel signed off on expansions we couldn't afford." I stared at her. "And no one stopped him?" "They tried," she replied. "He never listened." Before I could respond, Marcus stepped out of his office and called my name. My chest tightened as I followed him inside. He shut the door quietly, then turned to me with an expression that wasn't angry but tired. "I trust you've heard pieces of what's happening," he said. "I've heard enough to be worried," I answered. He nodded slowly. Daniel made several reckless decisions. Ones he believed would impress shareholders. Instead, he destabilized everything. I hesitated. "What do you need from me?" Honesty, he said. And consistency. Two things we've been missing. His words hit me harder than I expected. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. Marcus continued before I could speak. I don't want you cleaning his mess, he said. I want you preventing the next disaster. Me? Yes. You work quietly, but you work right. That statement sat heavy on my chest. I nodded slowly. Tell me what you want me to handle first. Start with the small projects, he said. Steady the teams. Show them leadership doesn't have to be loud to be effective. When I left his office, I ran into Emily near the hallway. She stepped forward quickly, her expression too soft to be sincere. Can we talk? She asked. I'm working, I replied. It'll only take a second, she insisted. I sighed. Fine. What is it? She forced a smile. I heard Marcus has been speaking to you a lot lately. That's surprising. Why? Well, she said, shrugging lightly, you're usually in the background. This is just new. I kept my voice steady. Everything is new. That's how change works. She frowned. You don't have to act like this. I'm not acting, I replied. I'm just done pretending everything is fine. Her frustration slipped through her expression before she walked away without another word. Later, in one of the project rooms, a junior analyst approached me nervously. Can I ask you something? Go ahead, I said. Did you really stop Daniel from approving that risky proposal last year? I nodded. I tried. Well, people are saying you should have been leading sooner. I exhaled slowly. I'm just doing my job. Yeah, he said, smiling, but you're doing it right. By the end of the day, more people came to me for direction. Not because I demanded authority, but because I earned their trust. For the first time, the storm inside their perfect walls didn't scare me. It motivated me. The chaos started before I even reached my desk. Daniel stormed toward me with a folder in his hand, waving it like a weapon. What did you do? He shouted. I stared at him. What are you talking about now? You sabotaged the investment report, he yelled. This loss is on you. I kept my voice steady. I didn't touch your report. You're lying, he snapped. You've been after my position from the start. I felt a flicker of anger rise. Daniel, you approved that deal yourself. Everyone knows it. Before he could respond, Ethan walked over with a smirk, just like he used to in school. Rough morning? He asked Daniel. Daniel pointed at me. He tanked the numbers. Ethan chuckled. Of course he did. He's always been good at ruining things. I looked at Ethan sharply. You still hiding behind someone louder than you? His smile faded. Watch your mouth. No, I said. You watch yours. Suddenly, an assistant rushed in. The board wants all three of you in the conference room. Immediately. My stomach tightened, but I followed them. When we walked inside, the board members looked furious. Marcus stood at the head of the table, arms crossed. Daniel, one of the directors said, we reviewed the data logs. Daniel lifted his chin. Good. Then you'll see We saw you altered the numbers yourself, she interrupted. Daniel froze. That's not true, he whispered. Another director tossed printed evidence onto the table. These are your approvals. Your timestamps. Your digital signature. Ethan took a small step back like he was trying to detach himself from the sinking ship. I watched his confidence crumble. Marcus finally spoke. Enough. Daniel tried again. I was misled. You lied, Marcus said sharply. And you tried to blame the person who warned you months ago. He looked at me, and something in his expression felt like acknowledgement. Daniel turned toward me in panic. You told them something. You set me up. I met his eyes. I didn't need to. The truth set itself up. Emily suddenly burst into the room. Is it true? She demanded. Daniel reached for her hand. Baby, listen. She yanked her hand away. You blamed him. After everything you said about being better than him. Daniel's face twisted. Emily, don't start. No, she shouted. You humiliated him for years. And now you do this. Their parents rushed in behind her, and in seconds, voices exploded. Daniel, what were you thinking? He embarrassed us. It's his fault. He made me look stupid. He made himself look stupid. I stood silent, watching the family tear itself apart. For the first time, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel like someone standing in the wrong room. Marcus turned toward me. Do you want to say anything? I took a breath. My voice felt stronger than ever. Yes, I said. I'm done being silent. And for the first time, the room went quiet because I spoke. When Marcus cleared his throat, the room slowly settled. I felt my pulse thumping in my ears. Something in his expression made the air feel heavier. I have an announcement, Marcus said. Daniel groaned. Not now. Marcus ignored him. As of today, I'm stepping down as CEO. A wave of gasps filled the room. Someone whispered, He can't be serious. My chest tightened as I stared at him. Emily stepped forward. Dad, what are you doing? Marcus raised a hand. I've made my decision. Daniel moved next to him. Fine, then who's taking over? Me, Mom. One of the directors. Marcus looked directly at me. No. Liam Carter. Everything inside me went still. Me. I whispered. Yes, Marcus said. You. Emily's face drained of color. You're choosing him? After everything? Marcus nodded. He's the only one who's been honest while the rest of you played games. Daniel slammed his fist against the table. You're ruining this family. Marcus shot back. You ruined it yourself. Daniel pointed at me. He doesn't deserve this. I took a step forward. I didn't ask for it. Daniel glared. You don't belong here. For someone who doesn't belong, I said quietly, I'm still standing here. Daniel cursed under his breath and stormed out, shoving the door so hard it echoed down the hall. Right away, people who once ignored me suddenly smiled. Congratulations, Liam. We always knew you had potential. If you need advice, I'm happy to help. I felt sick listening to them. I forced a polite nod but kept my eyes lowered. I didn't want their sudden sweetness. Not after months of being invisible. Emily approached me slowly. Liam, can we talk? I shook my head. Not right now. She reached for my hand. Please. I didn't think things would go like this. I pulled my hand back gently. Emily, everything went exactly the way truth demanded. Her lips trembled. You're not the same man I used to control. I met her gaze. I know. Marcus tapped the table. Liam, come with me. We need signatures. My legs felt unsteady as I followed him into the adjacent office. The documents were already arranged neatly. Marcus handed me a pen. You earned this, he said. I exhaled shakily. It doesn't feel real. It will, he replied. Sign. My fingers trembled as I touched the pen. What if I'm not ready? Marcus smiled faintly. No one ever is. But you're the one I trust. I signed the first page. My name, Liam Carter, looked strange under the title Incoming CEO. I moved to the next page, my breathing uneven. Each signature felt like I was rewriting the life they told me I didn't deserve. When I finished, Marcus extended his hand. Welcome to your new position. I shook it, still dazed. Thank you. You deserve more than you think, he said. As I walked out, I touched the door with my new name printed on the temporary plate. My voice cracked as I whispered. They tried to keep it shut. But now it was mine. I barely had time to breathe after the announcement before Emily appeared outside my new office door. Her eyes were red, and her voice trembled. Liam, can we talk? I swallowed. About what? She stepped closer. About us. About everything I ruined. I didn't answer, so she shut the door behind her. She looked around the office like she couldn't believe I belonged in it. I was wrong, she whispered. I crossed my arms. About what part? She winced. All of it. The things I said. The way I treated you. I kept silent, waiting. Tears ran down her cheeks as she said, I never meant those words. I was under pressure. My family kept telling me you weren't good enough. I clenched my jaw. So you decided to prove them right by repeating it? That night on the balcony wasn't real, she pleaded. I was scared. I was trying to impress them. I shook my head slowly. So you mocked me to impress people who never respected me? She covered her face. I know it sounds horrible. It is horrible, I said. But keep going. She lowered her hands. I love you, Liam. I always did. I just didn't know how to defend you. My chest tightened. You didn't defend me because you didn't think I was worth defending. Her voice cracked. That's not true. It is, I said quietly. You chased status, not love. She stepped closer. I don't want status anymore. I want you. I exhaled slowly. You want the version of me that's CEO, not the one you laughed at. Her breath hitched. That's not fair. It's the truth. She shook her head violently. No. I regret everything. I regret listening to them. I regret hurting you. Just give me another chance. Please. For a moment, the part of me that once planned a future with her stirred, but it faded fast. I remembered every cold look, every dismissive laugh, every moment she made me feel small. I forgive you, I finally said. She blinked. Then come back to me. I shook my head. Forgiving you doesn't mean returning to the same pain. Her voice rose. I've changed. Maybe, I said softly. But we weren't right for each other. Not then. Not now. She grabbed my arm. Liam, please. I can't lose you to this karma. I looked at her tear-stained face. You didn't lose me to karma. You lost me to your choices. She broke down, sobbing so loudly I almost stepped forward. Almost. Don't do this, she begged. I thought we'd get married. I thought we'd fix everything. We can't fix something that died long before today, I said. She slid to her knees, whispering, I hate myself for what I did. I stepped back. Don't hate yourself. Just learn from it. Her crying filled the office as I walked past her. My voice felt calm in a way I never expected. Goodbye, Emily. For the first time in years, the goodbye didn't hurt. I walked into the boardroom expecting whispers, but instead I found silence. Daniel sat at the far end of the table, pale and furious. The chair beside him was empty, like even the seat refused to be associated with him. Liam, one of the board members said, we need to finalize the vote. I nodded. Go ahead. Daniel slammed his hand on the table. This is a joke. You're choosing him over your own blood. Another member sighed. We're choosing integrity. Daniel pointed at me. He set me up. I leaned forward. Show them proof, Daniel. He froze. Marcus cleared his throat. The investigation speaks for itself. Daniel shot up. You're all blind. I kept this company alive. I said softly, you almost destroyed it. He turned to me, eyes shaking. You think you're better than me? No, I replied. I think I'm honest. The board announced the result. He was removed. Daniel staggered back, whispering, this can't be real. He glared at me again. I'll fight this. I told him, fight the truth first. He stormed out, and for a moment the room just breathed. Someone whispered, he did this to himself. I didn't argue. It was true. When I walked out into the hallway, Emily stood there. She didn't speak. She didn't cry. She just whispered, he won't recover from this. I answered, he'll have to face the consequences. She lowered her gaze. I wish things were different. So do I said, but I walked past her. She didn't follow. Later that day, Daniel's voice echoed through the lobby as he shouted on the phone, what do you mean frozen accounts? What do you mean charges? I listened from afar. He kept yelling until his voice cracked. "I'm the heir. You can't do this to me." Someone replied sharply, "You did it to yourself." He went silent. That evening, I found Olivia waiting in my office with 2 coffees. "You look like you need this," she said. I exhaled. "You have no idea." She smiled gently. "You handled everything without attacking him. That's strength." "It didn't feel like strength," I admitted. "It felt heavy." "That's what leadership feels like sometimes," she replied. "But you're doing it with honesty." "That's rare." I sat down and rubbed my face. "Do you think people will trust me now?" She leaned against the desk. "They already do. They see the difference." I looked at her. "Thanks for sticking by me." She shrugged. "Someone had to make sure you didn't forget to eat." We both laughed quietly. For the first time that day, the tension eased. Over the next week, things unraveled for the Rhodes family without any help from me. Emily kept her distance, walking through the halls like a shadow. Daniel avoided everyone. Their mother stopped pretending she was untouchable. I heard her whisper once, "We should have treated him better." I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Their downfall didn't come from revenge. It came from their own choices, finally demanding payment. And I walked forward, determined not to make the same mistakes. I stood at the top floor of the tower, looking out over the city. The same office where I once felt like an unwanted guest now felt like steady ground beneath my feet. I whispered, "I never thought I'd make it here," and the words felt warm instead of painful. Olivia stepped inside quietly. "You're early," she said. I smiled. "Couldn't sleep. Too much on my mind." She walked beside me. "Good thoughts or bad ones?" "Different ones," I replied. "Ones that don't hurt anymore." She nodded. "You've changed." "I had to," I said. "I didn't like who I was before." "You were kind," she said softly. "Just scared." "Not anymore," I answered. She handed me a folder. "Today's agenda. Nothing dramatic." "Good," I said with a laugh. "I've had enough drama to last a lifetime." My phone buzzed then. Emily's name glowed on the screen. Olivia noticed and stepped back. "I'll give you a moment." I shook my head. "It's fine." I opened the message. "Liam, I hope you're doing well. I wish I had appreciated you when I had the chance. You deserved better than what I gave you. I'm sorry." I stared at the words for a long time. My chest tightened, not with anger, not with sadness, but with something quieter. Acceptance. Olivia asked gently, "Are you going to reply?" "No," I said. "There's nothing left to say." She nodded. "Then that's your answer." I put the phone away and walked toward the window again. The city lights flickered like they were breathing with me. "I chased approval for years," I said. "I begged for love that drained me. I waited for people who never saw me." "And now?" she asked. "Now I choose myself." She smiled. "You earned that." I glanced at her. "Thank you for staying when things were falling apart." "I didn't stay for the company," she said. "I stayed because you're worth believing in." Her words made something inside me settle, like a storm finally ending. "I used to think love meant holding on," I said. "And now?" "Now I think love means letting go, even when a part of you remembers." Olivia stepped closer. "Letting go doesn't erase the past. It just stops it from controlling you." I nodded. "Exactly." I moved toward the desk, placing my hand on the nameplate, "Liam Carter, Chief Executive Officer." "I never wanted power," I whispered. "I just wanted peace." "And you have it," she said. I exhaled slowly. I rebuilt my life without bitterness. I didn't destroy anyone to get here. They fell on their own. "That's why you deserve this," she replied. I looked at her, really looked. "I'm ready for whatever comes next." She grinned. "A new chapter." "A better one," I said. As I stood there, my past behind me, my future wide open, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. I felt whole. And for the first time, my life felt like something I chose, not something I begged for.